So I thought I'd jump on the train of favorite books of every month. So starting off January, of course it's going to Fourth Wing. I literally started reading it on January 1st because I said, yes, we are doing this now. I had the book for a bit and it was sitting on my bookshelf, and then I just kept hearing about it, and no regrets. No regrets. I'm obsessed. Can't wait for Onyx Storm. It just makes sense that Onyx Storm would be my January of 2025. I already have the date booked and nobody is to disturb me when I start reading it. For February, that is going to A Curse for True Love. I actually read the whole trilogy during the month of February, and this is the one that sums it all up with the third book, and I loved it. I know there's some people that didn't like the series, or they really didn't like the third book. I loved it, and for me, it was a nice wrap up for Jax and Evangeline's story. And obviously I loved it because I got the one that is hand painted on the side. The month of March is no contest. It's going to Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home. I have mentioned this series so many times on my page. These are my books of a lifetime. They're my soul books, my spirit animals, if you will. And yeah, I adore them. This is the second book that has to do with Magnolia's story and BJ Ballantyne. And I just love it so much. I can't even put it into words. April's favorite book is going to Six of Crows. Yes, this is the first time that I had actually read fantasy that didn't have so much romance in it. It's mostly fantasy, a heist, it's found family, it's six people, obviously the Six of Crows. I adore this, and I just truly feel like it expanded my horizons in the fantasy section. I think it challenged me and made my brain think even more. I had to really focus on the plot, and it just led me way down into the rabbit hole of fantasy. It's my favorite genre, and I'm not giving it up. May is my birthday month, and I absolutely loved Butcher and Blackbird. Yes, I did. And I don't care about the controversy with it. None. I care none, because this book was so funny to me. A dark romance, dark rom-com. I just have never read anything like it. And like I stated earlier, I really expanded into the dark romance this year. The only thing I used to read before was thrillers. I just would not allow myself to read anything that was romance, whether it was dark or contemporary. And this one stole the show. So I had a great time. I love it. I can't wait for the third one. I'll buy anything that this writer writes. June is going to One Dark Window. I was so excited to finally read these books. I don't know why I had put it off so long. I heard about it again and again and again, and I just wasn't sure, is it going to be something that I'll like? And I don't know why I would think that. I absolutely love Gothic and I love fantasy, and this was no exception. I loved this. I love Two Twisted Crowns. So June was my month to read both of those. And July can go to no other than A Court of Mist and Fury. I really wanted, when I first started this series, to be in a place where I would remember it, where I would bookmark these books with a specific location. I would have a specific memory with my brain chemistry being changed. I don't know why I just had this in my head for this series because of everything I've heard about it. It did not let me down. I waited till I was at the beach. And so I will forever remember being on the beach and reading this book, loving it, falling in love with Rhysand, and I'm just never gonna forget it. August was kind of a tough month for me. I had to really think because I read a lot of good books, but a lot of them weren't my favorites. So I am going with Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. I did really like this book. I do think that I fell in love with Anathema even more, which is funny because a lot of people like Nocticadia more, and I just think it's what you're into. And I don't mind if the book has a slower romance. If I'm being led into a twisty, turny, gothic rabbit hole, I love it. But Nocticadia for sure was my favorite of August. For the month of September, it goes to Fairytale. Yes, I finally read this book, and truly it's one of my favorites of all time. It really is a journey. I mean, she is a chunker, but I loved being lost in it. It's so different from anything that I've read as well. It spans lifetimes and eras and different locations. This love story, gosh, it's the best of fantasy. It has a gothic feel, it has witchy vibes, and it has a scene in here that I was like, what am I experiencing? If you've read it, and I'm like, whoa, okay, well, let's just go with it. Let's go with it. But yeah, I fell in love with this book, and Eamon in here is like top tier book boyfriend. And then I truly saved all my gems for October. So I narrowed it down to 3, okay? I can't do it. I can't choose. So my 3 favorites in October was Hollow Heathens, Nicole Fiorina, I mean poetry in novel form, yes. And then I have Slewfoot on here by Brahm. Obsessed. I will read this every October. I don't reread books. Keep in mind, I do not reread books. I will be reading this every October to get into my witchy feels. That's how much I loved it. And then we have Anathema. Of course, I just talked about that by Carrie Lake. It was a great gothic fantasy adventure, and I can't wait for the second one to take me further and further and lost in the woods. Cannot wait. Now, November is going to The Sins of Silas. This is the second book after The Lies of Lena. I love Kylie Snow's writing. I've said this numerous times. She's an indie author on here. Please go buy her books, support her. She is so kind, so humble, and then her books are freaking amazing. And The Sins of Silas, even better than the first one because it's longer and we get more of the plot, more of the relationships. I'm obsessed, and so for sure, nothing came close to The Sins of Silas for the month of November. Now, I'm telling you, December, I just had an epic month with fantasy. I really did. So again, I'm narrowing it down to 2, okay, because I can't choose. So A Court of Wings and Ruin, I got to read that one. I'm just making my way so slowly through the series because I know people said they flew through it and then they were so sad that they got through it so quickly. So I'm dragging it out as much as I can. So I love that. And then we all know I'm going to say Glow of the Everflame. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love a queen energy that says, I don't answer to you, Prince. I'm the fucking queen. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can't choose. I love them both. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. So anywho's, these were my favorite books for each month broken down, and I'm excited to hear what y'all's were. Share with some that I didn't mention because I probably haven't read them yet, and I want to know what I should put at the top of my TBR for 2025. Because as you can see, a lot of these books behind me I haven't read yet, so please steer me in the right direction.